Welcome to Murder.
And everything else.
My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl, and Joy and I are two very old friends who are going to chit-chat about murder and everything else.
And everything else.
And everything else. And everything else.
And today we're going to talk about everything else.
That's right. We're moving away from murder for a little bit.
That's right. Hey, quick disclaimer. Just a reminder, this is not for children.
Correct.
And on that note, highs and lows.
Okay. Am I going first?
Yeah.
Okay, my low is, we all know how much I dislike roaches, right? We all know how much I dislike roaches and bugs in general. And Arizona has some bugs that I have never seen in my life before. So the other day we were swimming, and Kevin usually skims the pool because there's, debris and leaves and stuff that fallen in, and there wasn't a lot. Like, we have some, I don't know what the plant is, but we have some that it has this like purplish flower, but it's closed up, and they're in the pool. And he's like, "Do you want me to skim it?" And I was like, "No, there's not a lot. We can get around it." So he's getting himself ready with, getting changed or whatever, getting his water. And I'm swimming, Joy, okay? And I see what I think is one of these buds. So I get up close, and it's this freaking bug that is like 4 inches long. And I'm screaming for him, and I'm swimming back the other way. And I'm like, "Kevin! Kevin!" He's like, "What?" I go, "You gotta skim the pool. There's this big ass bug." So he goes and he gets the skimmer thing, and he's trying to get it, but he's also, we don't know if it's alive or dead. I didn't look long enough to see if it was alive or dead, but we're trying to figure out.
How many inches was it?
I said 4 inches. Are you listening to me? I said 4 inches. Okay.
4 inches.
I'm not lying. You can ask Kevin. So
Holy
when he
shnikes.
picks the thing up, the wings open. The wings like open, and I'm like, I run around the fence, and I'm like hiding, like it's like Godzilla.
I thought you were gonna say that you fell.
No,
you're like running around the pool, you fall, your legs splay out, and now you've ripped all your groin muscles. I was just like, it gets better and better.
No, so then he has to grab the trash, because I'm like, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna put it on the ground and smash it?" He's like, "We have to come up with a plan, because this thing could start flying or whatever." Anyway, he ends up chopping it and then just putting it in the garbage can. And I go, "Well," and then, being just the high maintenance wife I am, and then I'm like, "Oh, but I don't want him to suffer in the garbage can."
Oh God! Shoot me now!
And then he goes, "No, it's dead." And I don't know if it is or not, but I think he just did it so that we could end this whole conversation. But he put it in the garbage can. He shut the lid.
You know when you kill a bug, or you step on a bug or something like that, you're supposed to say, "Go and be a Buddha." So you absolve yourself of the crime of being an innocent creature, and also you're telling him to go and be a god somewhere.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Well, I have to say, I atoned for that, for the murder of this really ugly. Oh, and I didn't describe it, Joy. It was like black and like a hard shell. Okay, beetles with hard shells and shit. I'm sorry, but last year I came out at night. I opened the back doors to take the babies out to go potty, and I looked down, and there was this big ass bug. I have never seen anything like it, Joy. I tell you, even
it was
Kevin.
Probably a dung beetle.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. My friend said it comes in with the winds. I don't know. I don't care. I don't ever want to see one again. Yeah, like the monster.
when you were like breaking wind, it's all here it comes.
It attracts him when you break wind. Anyway, even Kevin was like, ew. I mean, it's kind of unfair to men that we assume that they're okay with getting these big ass bugs. You know what I mean? It's like they're not allowed to be all creeped out about it. And
Girl,
I was mad. I was so
cannot, I gotta tell you, when the cat eats something and leaves like intestines, I'm like, help! I can't.
I know, I can't. And we just automatically give the men or male figures, a son, whatever, the task of getting these creatures. And it is actually not fair. We're stereotyping them. They don't, because I was upset about that bug for the next week, because I'm like, if I have to deal with this bug every summer, we are moving. I was so... Joy, I've never seen anything like
it. If I have to deal with this one bug every summer, I'm leaving.
No, let me tell you, I was so upset. I said to Kevin, I was like, I was like just harping on it. I was like, wasn't that the grossest thing you ever seen? And he's like, well, it wasn't adorable. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But okay, so whether that other thing in the pool was alive or dead, it's dead now. But yesterday I saved this. Noreen, my sister, hates lizards, so close your ears. But Jet was coming back in from going to the bathroom outside, and I watched him go in the door over the door jam thingy, and I saw this little baby lizard like spin, like I don't know if he had brought it in his mouth or he just tripped on it. Jet just tripped on it, made it tumble. But I saved him. I picked him up, and he wasn't a lizard like those gray lizards. He was spotted. Anyway, I put him on my hand, and then his left, I don't know what you call it, not a hand, but he stretched it out like he was trying to get his bearings back. Aww. Anyway, he came to, and I put him out, and hopefully he survived. But anyway, so I made up for the murder of that other bug, but he had to be murdered because he was disgusting. And anyway, Arizona is like Australia. I've heard there are creatures there that you've never seen in your life. They have like just these weird, and it's
that's where they have the duck-billed platypus.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh yeah. Those are
it has like a beaver tail. It has a duck bill. It has webbed feet. But it lays eggs, but it has a pouch. So it's like a mammal, but it lays eggs. It's like so confusing. It's
cute,
like,
though.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Campbell's soup. You know how like you buy a can of Campbell's soup, says tomato soup. It looks like it would taste delicious. Then you put it in the pan. It's like gelatin.
Yes,
and it's gross, and it tastes disgusting, and it smells funky. That's what I imagine the duck-billed platypus was like when I was made. I was like the leftover pieces of an animal that was like nobody wanted anymore.
Oh, so it's cute, and it's not going to end up in your pool. So
Well, anywho, you never know. Maybe it likes to swim.
This is true. Okay, well, so let me move on to my high real quick. I don't know, we can't talk. I could go on and on about these bugs, but so my high is my Arizona friends. I have to say that I have made some really great friends from work, but we now hang together outside of work. So like last week we got together at Stephanie's house. Hey, Shantae, Stephanie, and Christine, my ladies out here in Arizona. And we'll get together.
What's up, bitches?
What's up, bitches? I come home now and go, I'm home, bitches. And Kevin just shakes his head. But yeah, so I'm really happy about that. I made a really good circle of friends here because, I came to Arizona from California kicking and screaming. But I have to say that
when you said that you hang outside, it's 155 degrees Fahrenheit. And you guys are hanging outside like all in the like melting hot air. Yeah. That's nice. Joy, it's so good to have friends.
It right? Is. I'm going to talk about, but I just have to add, it's freaking humid here now, on top of it being 116 degrees or
Ooh,
whatever. So, but anyway, yes, it is very important to have your friends, especially for women to have female friends. Um, it's
yes.
it's um, it's wonderful. So I just want to say my hi is my group of Arizona girlfriends, my lady friends. Yay!
It reminds me of this thing I used to say to my kids when they were little. I'd say, you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
God, okay, that one I've heard. You're so silly. All right, what's your highs and lows?
Well, okay. So I have mentioned in the past that I am a nanny, and I am a nanny for a 4-month old and a 2-year old.
Ugh, she's so goddamn
And
cute.
I know. And on yesterday, I had this, those baby Bjorn carriers. I think they also make them for dogs. You put it on, then you put your little dog in. It's like head sticks out. Well, it's same thing, but for a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I was upstairs, and Nina was having a tea party, putting out a picnic blanket. We were sitting down and sipping tea, and she was making tea, and then she was making like a drink, and so cute. And I was standing up with the baby in the carrier, because every time I sat down, the baby would go, rah! So I would stand up, and then while I was standing, I was like, you know what I could do? I could like do twists and lunges while I
Oh
have the baby
no.
in the carrier, and I could strengthen my core.
Oh
So,
my God.
and okay, I was up there for at least 45 minutes. So the whole time I'm doing like twists and lunges, and I'm like trying to like bend my knees so that I can like strengthen my whatever those upper leg muscles are that I can't remember again.
Quadriceps.
Yeah. And this morning I feel like I got run over by a tractor.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, apparently, like, you shouldn't do core training while you're holding a 20-pound meatloaf in a carrier. I mean,
I thought you were gonna say you like pulled something, or do you feel like you pulled something, or it's just sore like
no, I'm
workouts?
just really sore. It's not workout sore. It's definitely a combination of pulled sore.
Oh, okay.
But,
I also,
yeah,
when you mentioned
so
baby Bjorn, thought you were gonna say like the strap came off and you almost dropped
oh
her.
God, no. No, no, no. But I really like those, I really like the carriers where you can carry the baby, because I really like baby wearing, and I like when the baby falls asleep
Hmm.
and you're holding the baby in the carrier, because then you can look down, the baby's like sacked out and like totally mouth open and just
Yeah.
like in la la land, and you're like, it's just nice. I mean, I had like baby gunk, milk and stuff all over the front of my t-shirt. It was like all
Oh.
a line, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't matter. It's just nice that like the baby's so comfortable and sleeping against you. But also, I have a theory that the more padding you have in the front area of your body, the softer things are. And what baby doesn't like a nice soft landing space? Like,
So it's
seriously.
in that case, it's good to have a junk in the front trunk,
That's right. In the front, right. Junk in the front. That's right.
like a
Anyway, that
VW Bug, right? Isn't the trunk in the front? Just random information.
I think you're
The
right. The
engine is
old
in the
one.
back. Yeah.
That's right. See? Liquor in the front, poker in the rear. Wait, it's not poker, it's poker in the front. Wait,
No,
I
it's
don't
liquor
remember. Anyway.
in the front. All right.
Well,
Uh,
anyway,
was that
we're
your high or
digressing.
low?
The so the sore back is my low, and then my high is my little chickens are back under the roost. They came home today. I picked them up from the airport, and so now I can sleep at least a little bit better than I was. But then
Mhm.
one chicken came home, unpacked, repacked, and now they're off to volleyball camp. I'm so I don't know. I can't be the only parent that can't sleep well when their kids are scattered around the planet.
Oh,
So
no doubt.
I have not slept well between being sick and the kids being gone. I have not slept well for like 9 days, and it looks like I've got another 4 or 5 ahead of me. So, and for those of you who have successfully had children and sleep soundly and sleep better than you've ever slept, bravo.
Right.
But guess what? It's coming for you because it doesn't last. So there. So I don't know. You pick which one's a high, you pick which one's a low.
Really? I know, because your high went right into a low.
I know.
Was that really
a
high?
It's a
hoe.
Hila, a hoe. That's right. A hoe or a lee or a hoe.
I like a hoe better. Who doesn't like
anyhow,
a good hoe? Okay.
Yeah, oh God. Anyway, guys, this week we are beginning our giveaway. So we're launching our giveaway. Yay!
We need a special sound.
Yay! All right. So I'm going to cover the terms and conditions, and then Cheryl is going to read our first trivia question.
All right.
So here is how to win the giveaway. Go to our weekly trivia question on Instagram or listen to it here, and then you're going to follow the following instructions. You're going to like the post. You're going to tag 3 friends. You're going to answer the trivia question correctly, and you have to be the first person to answer correctly on either Instagram or to send us an email at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com. And if you are the first person to answer correctly, you are the winner. You have one week to get the right answer in, and you can answer as many times as you want, but the first correct answer wins, and we will shout out the winner each Sunday. Here's the not so fun disclaimer part. If you have won once or already have the prize that we are giving away, you are not eligible to enter again. If you want to win the prize so you can give it to a family member or a spouse or a partner, then tell them to subscribe and enter the contest so they can win. Good luck, and may the best listener win. Please allow 2 to 4 weeks for the item to arrive to your home. And bonus, once you get your giveaway prize, take a photo and post it to our Instagram or Facebook or wherever you want, or send it to our email so that our other followers can see your prize. All right. So Cheryl, you want to read our first trivia question?
Yes, this is so exciting. Drum roll. Okay. First question is from our very first episode, our pilot episode, which was about the Idaho Murders Affidavit. And this was published on January 10th of this year, 2023. The question is, Joy mentions that someone near and dear to her is serving a prison sentence. How long is that sentence? Go for it!
Woo-hoo! All right. You heard it here.
Fastest listener win. The fastest
That's
correct
right.
Whistler.
That's right. Whistler. May the best whistler win. All right, guys, this week we are leaving murder and we are going in another direction. And Cheryl, you want to tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
Yes, we are going to be talking about AITA, also known as Am I the Asshole? Yay! Okay, so I have listened, I listen to other podcasts and I watch YouTube channels, so I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And I listened to the Sesh. So it's Kendall Ray and her cousin Janelle. So this was the first I heard of it. I'm sure other people are doing it, and it's actually Reddit, I believe, that started it. But if they didn't start it, they have a best of 2022. So I know a lot of podcasts and whatnot are reading from their post. So this is from Reddit's best of 22 master post. So this gentleman writes in and says, for every holiday, my mother would ask the women in the family, his sisters, his sister-in-law, his wife, any female cousins, to send samples of the desserts they plan to bring to the celebration for testing and to see if these desserts could make it to the food menu. My wife has been
What?
complaining about yes.
God.
Everybody picks this one because it's so good. My wife has been complaining about my mother deliberately rejecting every dessert sample she sent so many times that my mother has told her that she's just being honest and keeping the guests' best interest at heart. Yet my wife still thought that my mother is deliberately excluding her since two of her dessert samples were rejected before. For this year's Christmas, my mother is doing the same thing, but this time she told every woman who is participating to make a cookie sample and send it to her for testing. My wife took it as a challenge, and to be honest, she worked really hard to make a good sample and sent it to my mother days ago, and the results just came in yesterday. I came home from work and found my wife upset. I asked what's wrong. She told me that my mother rejected the sample she sent and decided to exclude her baking from the food list menu for Christmas this year. I didn't know what to say, but she then told me she was backing out of the invitation to attend Christmas with my family. I was stunned when I heard her make this statement. I tried to talk to her, but she said it was done. I called her unreasonable to decide to bail on the whole family over some cookie sample, that it's just freaking crazy and quite unreasonable. We had a full-on argument about it, and she stated that my mother caused this, but I told her that my mother is pretty serious and careful about the food she offers to the guests since we are going to have relatives coming from all sides of the country. She told me to stop mentioning it. Later, I heard her crying despite telling her that her baking is amazing and people have preferences, that's all. Am I the asshole for insisting that her decision was unreasonable? What do you think?
Yeah, it's totally unreasonable. I mean, first of all, the mother-in-law is crazy because like what kind of power trippy uh survivor mentality do you have where she's like basically kicking you off the island based off of your shitty cooking skills? And also, you and I both know that people take their cooking skills very seriously. So if somebody's like, a lot of people think they're really good at cooking and they really are not.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I grew up in a whole family of people who like to think that they can cook, and literally, and they'd be like, don't I make the most delicious casseroles? And I'm like, no, you're like the worst. So the mother-in-law needs to be called out on her ridiculous, like Nazi style, like control issues. But the other thing is, the wife should pat herself on the back. She now to make anything, but she gets to go and enjoy all the food.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
she probably already knew that her mother-in-law was a little bit crazy.
Right. So do you think, can I just, so he added a few things, but I wanted to get your response before I added this. So he said, if you're asking whose cookie sample made it to the menu, the answer is my sister and my two cousins. Also, there's a few things to put in here. My wife, number one, my wife wasn't the only one whose sample was rejected. We have sister-in-laws, his brother's wife, and my younger sisters who was rejected. Two, my mother did not force anyone to participate. It was up to whoever wanted to take part. Three, this is just about the dessert. This is very interesting. This is just about the dessert since my mother tends to be very careful in this category. But for the other types of foods, dishes, appetizers, salads, stuff like that is welcomed. So
No,
also,
I think it's ridiculous. The mother-in-law is like ridiculous. If this woman wants to bring Jello pudding pops, bring Jello pudding pops.
okay, so is he the asshole? Because his question is, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for insisting that her decision was unreasonable? Oh, because okay, so now what is your thought on her deciding not to go to the gathering? And before you
Oh,
answer that, he also did an update and he goes, great. So I just got off the phone with my brother and he told me that his wife is doing the same thing as my wife and that she has decided to back out of the invitation to spend Christmas with my family as well.
Well, well, guess what? The mother-in-law might think twice next Christmas if all of the in-law, like all of the sister-in-laws or brother-in-laws or whatever who got rejected don't show up, because she is a little bit ridiculous. But the husband, I mean, here's the thing. I think the wife needs to like calm down and think rationally. Now you don't have to do any work to bring anything.
Right?
It's like, grow up already.
So do you think that her not going is unreasonable?
No, I mean, I wouldn't, she feels that strongly about it. Here's the thing. People don't think shit through. They think like, I'm not going to go anymore. Are you going to leave the family? Do you want to create that much chaos between you and your in-laws?
Right. I think it was
And
just
do
for
you want to
that
like,
Christmas.
do you want to plant the flag and now forever be the daughter-in-law that come to Chris? I mean, what if you have children involved? You know, it's like people have to like, first of all, I've realized that people do not, all you have to do is go to a middle or high school talent show to realize that there's a lot of people out there who have no barometer on what's going on.
Right.
And then also it sets people up for those shows like America's Got Talent, because most of those people ain't got no talent.
Right.
So maybe this lady thinks her cookies are good, but maybe they taste like garbage.
Well, so the question, so he's asking, am I the asshole for insisting that her decision was unreasonable? And you said yes, he is an asshole for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he has to validate his wife's feelings, because what are you gonna like sleep in the garage for a month because you made fun of your wife for crying about her cookies?
Yeah.
Like maybe she really, really, really wanted those cookies to be accepted, but it's like, I mean, I don't know. I just think if I were and then also if the son goes to his mom and says, Mom, you made my wife cry because you rejected her cookies. Now you've created this problem between your husband and his mother.
Yeah.
And then the mom is going to turn to her husband and go, can you believe our stupid, self-entitled, bitchy daughter-in-law cried to our son, and now he's taking her side? I mean, it's the potential for it to turn into a much bigger thing. See, even Callie doesn't like the answer.
I might have to go get her.
It's turned into a much bigger thing now. It's like, come on, it's a cookie.
It's so interesting though that somebody would ask for samples and then do this whole thing. That's why it's everybody's favorite am I the asshole situation.
Yeah.
So when I
it's
told
multi-layered. It's multi-layered.
Exactly. It's because when I told, it's so interesting. I want to hear what Gabe has to say, because I told Kevin this morning that this is what we're going to do, and I read him this situation, and he laughed. He goes, I think that's hilarious. So he just thought the whole thing was funny. And then his response, which I thought was great, he goes, she should make the most horrible cookie next time.
Next time I would put like dog poop, and I would put like cement, and I put like industrial spackle or caulk in there, and then I would be like, or I would put like a hot dog sticking right out. I would make like cock and balls cookies, where it'd be like 2 meatballs, a wiener, and then I'd be like, and then I put some sprinkles on it, and I'd be like, here's my cookies. They're called cock and balls. And then the mother-in-law would be like, denied. And then I'd be like, oh, you didn't like my cock and ball. I'll bring it. I'd say, I'm bringing him for an entree then.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had to say that I had to give it to Kevin, because I was like, that's a great response. Because the other thing is, it wasn't mandatory, right? It wasn't mandatory. So anyway, he was like, she should just continue to enter the contest. It's not a contest, but she should continue to try, but just purposely make it horrible. Anyway, I think it is hilarious, and I want to know from everyone out there, do you think he was an asshole for insisting that her decision was unreasonable? Write us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com. Anyway,
let us know.
Okay, so I know we're on a little bit of a time constraint, so let's go into one. So that's one I pulled from the web from Reddit. So let's go into one of our own am I the assholes? Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So here is my question. Am I the asshole?
All right.
So I used to know a person who told me once upon a time the names that she would name her son and daughter when she had children. And she ended up having two boys, so she didn't use the name for the girl. And I had two daughters, and one of my daughters has the name that she said she wanted to name her child a girl.
Mhm.
But remember, she had two boys.
Right.
So, and so the question is, am I an asshole? Because later on, she came back and accused me of stealing her baby name. And I said, but you had two boys. And she said, but what if I adopted a girl? And I said, well, you can still adopt a girl. There's no rule on how many children you have. You can adopt 5 girls. But am I an asshole for using her baby name?
Well, no, I mean, you didn't use it because it was hers, right?
Right.
It's because you like the
I
name. So that,
Well, I didn't even pick the name. We had a list of 5 names or 4 names, and my husband picked both of the girls' first names.
mm-hmm.
I
Wow.
picked their middle names.
So he didn't even know.
No, he had no way of knowing. But when she came back and said, "You stole my baby name," I was gobsmacked. I was like, "What?" I was like,
Wow.
the idea is, can you steal someone's baby name? I say that you can't, that nobody has a moratorium on names. Like if I want to name, like remember George Foreman? He named like 5 children George.
Even the girls. No, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. He
Oh,
named them like Georgina or something like
oh,
that.
did he really?
And yeah, and so the fact of the matter is there's no, you don't have a corner market on a name. If
Yeah.
I want to name my children the same thing that my sister or my brother named their children, they might not like it, but there's no rule that says I can't. I can name my kids whatever I want.
Well,
If I want to give them 5 names, I mean, look at the royal family. Those kids have like 10 names each.
right,
William,
right.
George, Harry, Williams, Charles, you know, Persephone. I mean, they have so many names.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Give me the timeline again. So was she not pregnant? This is before
So
she had
she
kids?
had so she had both of her children before I had children.
Okay. And when did she tell? Oh, so, and you don't know that she likes the name.
Or she had her children, she said, I want to have a boy and I want to have a girl. And these are the names this is what I want to name my daughter.
Mhm.
But then she went on to have 2 boys with no plans to have any more children.
Yeah, so no, so that's weird on her part. I mean, that's weird. But it
Yeah,
was kind of like she was going, but if, right?
right. But what if I want to adopt? I was like, you could have 5 children you adopt. Name them whatever you want, but
Hmm.
I get to name my child whatever I want. It's like there's you can't steal someone's name.
That is so, I bet this has come up in a lot of friendships, in a lot
Oh,
of
I'll bet.
relationships.
And also families. Like for example, we have my husband has cousins and extended cousins, like second cousins. There's 2 girls with the same name and 2 boys with the same name.
Hmm.
Nobody no, nobody cares. Nobody's going to say you stole my baby name.
Yeah, I have a
Nobody cares.
cousin named Cheryl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, I don't know if you remember this, Joy, but when I got Jet, I went through a couple of names before I named him. And then I was reading the People magazine, and John Travolta's
Yeah.
son had just died, and his name was Jet, and spelled with 2 T's, I believe. Anyway, I
Yeah.
spelled Jet with 2 T's. Anyway, I remember telling you, that I named him Jet, and you go, oh, that's what Gabe and I were going to name our son if we had. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was on our short list.
Okay. So, but how did you feel about the fact that I had named my I had no idea what your
I
names
don't
were.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, see, so it's
You can name your dog whatever you want to.
yeah, and I just remember, and your reaction was more like, "Oh, I love that name. That's one of the names
Yeah.
Gabe and I had if we were
Yeah.
gonna have a boy." Yeah,
Well,
so
I just had to tell you when I was like 8.5 months pregnant with Fiona, we were on vacation with my in-laws up at we used to call Uncle Jack's ranch, and we were out walking one evening, and my mother-in-law said, "What are you thinking about like baby names?" And I said, "Daisy." And she laughed so
oh,
much.
really? Why?
I don't
It's a
know
cute name.
because um well, also I wanted to name our oldest child, if she was a boy, Buster, because I thought Buster McKeon is such a cute name, right?
Oh, that is
Anyway,
cute.
like remember Buster? Was there a actor named Buster Keaton? I
Yes,
just thought it was such a cute name, Buster.
it is
And
cute.
I got totally shot down, by the way, on Buster. Nobody liked Buster except everybody kept saying that's what you'd name a dog. So,
Oh, well,
isn't that funny?
that would be hard on a girl, in school and hey, Buster, you got to think about the teasing factor, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Hey, Buster. I like that. I
It is
liked
cute.
Daisy and I liked Ruby, but we didn't end up going with either of those. And by the way, when our second child was born, everybody was naming their child Ruby. There were so many Rubies. I remember thinking like, wow, it was like there was a Ruby around every Rubies and Lunas because we really like the name Luna.
Hmm. Yeah,
Anyway,
it just so funny about pet names because I had a neighbor once. She was crazy, but she had these two little white fluffy dogs. They were probably Bichon or Lhasa Apso or
Frizz.
whatever. Anyway, I don't know what one of them was called, but one of them's name was Christine because I would hear her going, "Christine, Christine, come back." I think it's hilarious when dogs have like actual, like,
Hilarious.
well, quote unquote people names. I think it's
Yeah.
so funny.
Well,
Um,
that was like Howard. I used to call her Howard Hughes. I used to call her Howard the duck. I used to call her
oh,
Howard the dog. I used to call her um yeah, and we used to make all kinds of songs. We still do.
yeah. It's
Oh
well,
yeah.
okay, so I'm going to ask the listeners, what do you think? This whole thing with names it is a conundrum sometimes when you pick a name before somebody else does. So write us in at murderandeverything@gmail.com. I want to know what you think. Okay? All
Awesome.
right. Okay, so I have an am I the asshole? So I have a friend who has a friend who okay, so I went to my friend's wedding, and my friend has a lot of friends. Her name's her name. We're gonna call her Daisy. So Daisy has a lot. Daisy has a lot of friends, and Daisy's friend, I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call her. What's another flower? I'm gonna call
Rose.
her. We're gonna call
Rose.
her Rose. Okay, so my good friend's name is Daisy, and her friend was named Rose. We're gonna put it in the past tense because I don't think she speaks with her anymore. But Daisy was. I have to give this. I have to give this prologue, epilogue. What's the beginning? Prologue to a
Prologue.
book. Prologue. Okay, I have to
Yeah.
give this. I have to. I have to set it up for people because obviously I want people to be on my side. But okay, so Rose was very jealous of Daisy because Daisy was just she had a lot of friends and she made a lot of friends through her life, and she had a lot of old time friends. People will remain her friends, and she has no problem making new friends. Anyway, so Daisy makes Rose her maid of honor, which I don't know why. And So I am one of the bridesmaids in Daisy's wedding, and she has all these other friends who are bridesmaids as well. And it was really fun. We had a bachelorette party where there is your standard stripper, and that was gross. And then,
Oh yeah.
and then we
That was
had
gross.
we
If memory serves me correctly, it was like a small, balding, um, wasn't he Filipino gentleman?
I think so. I
But
don't
he was,
remember. I was
I think
staying
he
as
was,
far away from
he
him
was
as
shorter. I think
yeah.
he was shorter than me, and I don't think he came in the front door with pants on.
All I know is I was like, that is not my thing. I stayed far away in the back, as from far away from his sweat as possible. Anyway, so it was so fun. We had our makeup done at the same, at the same place, and our hair and all this stuff, so it was like a bonding moment for all of us, right? Because we're there for the same event, which is Daisy's wedding. So then it's a wonderful wedding. We all go home because it was in Oregon, and I come home to California when I lived in California. And Rose reaches out to me, and she's like, "Hey, I think we should," because Rose lived in California as well. And we should get together sometime, whatever, And I was like, I really didn't want to, because I didn't want to. I didn't feel any connection, rapport with her. And I thought, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, sure. And you're like, I'm going to get out of it somehow. And so she makes a tentative date. How about, and it's a month away. Okay, it's a month away. How about, and she actually picks a day, and I go, yeah, okay. And I figure when we touch base prior to that date,
I specifically remember the phrase, "I'll pencil it in," being used because it was very tentative.
okay, how do you know so much about Daisy? Okay, so so I say, okay, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm coming up with an excuse not to have this get together, because I don't feel you should waste your time. If you don't feel like you really want to get together with somebody, I'm not going to go that extra step, because I knew that her reaching out to me was weird in the first place. I didn't feel comfortable with it. And I'm like, I am not going to pretend and go through this exercise of actually meeting up with her only to open the door for more of these gatherings, So I'm like, no. Anyway, I'm living my life for a month, everyone. I want you to think about how long that is. A month. One night I come home. It's in the evening already. It's probably 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And this was back when we didn't have cell phones. So it's the good old answering machine, and it's blinking. And I'm like, oh, got a message. Turn it on, play the message. And at first, I can't make heads or
I
tails.
had a cell phone. You didn't have a cell phone?
I think I did, but I told you on another episode, I was really behind. I always went kicking and screaming into the next phase of technology. So when everybody had their cell phone, I was like, I refuse to have a cell phone. Leave
Guys,
a
and
message.
now she has an iPad strapped to her forehead.
You know what? You make jokes, but I have now gotten a purse strap for my cell phone case, so that I carry it around like a crossbody bag. Yes,
Shut the
I
front
do.
door.
I
That's
do not
so
even
crazy.
I do not even put my cell phone in my cute sun purse that you bought me, my
Oh
sunflower
God.
bag, because you know what? You look at your phone so many times that I don't even put it in my purse anymore. I just carry it like a crossbody bag. So Joy is not. She is not lying. It's having an iPad strapped to my forehead is not far from the truth. Anyway, so I'm playing this message, and I got to tell you, I have no freaking idea what is happening. This is the message, not verbatim, but I'll give you the gist of it. Hi, this is Rose. I'm sitting here with my family, and I've made this meal, and just wondering where you are. And I had to play it again because I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Wait. Wasn't there multiple messages though?
I only remember one. Maybe she did. Oh, you know what? Now
No,
that
there
you're
were
saying that,
multiples.
I think it might have been.
Because there was one where it was like, how
Well,
dare you leave a pregnant woman slaving over a
no,
hot stove on a blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I have no
Like,
idea.
you should be ashamed of yourself. Like,
No, I
I'm
don't think
pretty
it went
sure you
that
got
far.
one of those. Okay.
She might have told you that. She might have told Daisy. Oops. She might have told Rose. Might have told Daisy that. But
or their mutual friend Violet.
yes, or Plumeria, or
Right.
Daffodil,
Right.
or Lily. So that's the only one I remember. It was very creepy. It was we're all sitting here. Wait, it was very single white female, like just scary. And when I say single white female, I always feel like I have to be so PC. I am not doing. It's not about being white or whatever. She wasn't white, but it's just a phrase. You know, everybody. Did you see single white
Yeah,
female with
yeah.
Bridget
Well,
Fonda? Okay.
I talked to Daisy after, and she also got phone calls.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm sure Daisy did. So this anyway, she's like, I've been making this dinner and we're all here sitting waiting for you. And I was so appalled. I was not even apologetic. And Joy, I am the type of person like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? That's how my personality is. You know, like I don't want to make anybody mad, but I'll tell you, I got pissed off. I immediately got pissed off when I came out of the fog and I realized who it was and what the fuck she was talking about. I was like, what the fuck? Who goes a whole month and that does not check? I schedule a lunch date with somebody a week out, and 2 days before I'm like, are we still on? You know what I mean? Like a month. And because she's so cray cray, that is old. I'm like, throwback. Because she's kind of psycho, I was like, I'm not calling her. I can't call her because it's going to open this door. And while it may be rude on my part, like I don't want to be rude. I don't ever want to make anybody mad. I don't, I'm Japanese. I come from a very very accommodating, like you have to be just always apologetic. I did not want to call her, so I didn't. I let it go. I was like, I know she's going to be pissed off. And then poor Daisy was in the middle, which I understand, but I had to call Daisy. And I was like, your friend is a fucking freak.
Have you heard that song by Ava Max, Sweet But Psycho?
Oh, no.
It's so funny. He goes,
oh, yes.
She's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm out of my mind. It's hilarious. I'm like, oh, I know who that's written for.
Okay, so anyway, everyone listening, am I the asshole for not returning her call? I know I'm not the asshole for forgetting. Okay, so if you make a tentative date with someone a month out and you don't touch base and they call you because they're fucking have made a 7-course meal and you've just gotten home from the gym, would you be the asshole for not calling them back? Am I the asshole for not calling her back?
I mean, if it was the Queen and I was invited to have tea with the Queen, I would definitely not even check in. I would show up at Buckingham Palace. Well, I can't say the Queen because now we've just got the King and his side piece. But when it was the Queen, if it was Queen Elizabeth II and she had penciled me in, I would definitely show up with my hat and my opera glasses and my little purse and my Chanel pink suit. And I would be there 2 hours in advance so that they could go through all the SWAT team patting me down and the body cavity searches before I actually got in to see Her Royal Highness.
God.
And also so I could practice all of my curtsies.
Right. Well, anyway, all right. I have to be fair. So you guys can write in to murder and everything else at gmail.com and let me know if I was the asshole for not calling Rose back.
Yep.
But first, before you do that, I want you to watch the movie Single White Female. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, that's a great film. Okay. I think we have time for one more. Do you have one more good one on your list?
Okay. So, all right. Yeah. This was kind of a no-brainer as to whether he's an asshole, but I just had to pick it because I was kind of like appalled at that he would do this. So, am I the asshole for potentially getting my wife in trouble with her hospital? So this man is 30 years old and his wife is 28. So he says, my wife just started her second year of medical residency. She likes to talk about her workday, and I understand it's important as a way for her to de-stress, considering the workload that residents have. However, she tends to overshare medical details about her patients. For those who don't know, medical information is protected by a law called HIPAA, and it's pretty strict about how patient information needs to be protected and anonymized if sharing is needed. I've reminded my wife several times that she's telling me patient details that are in violation of HIPAA. She keeps brushing it off, first by telling me that HIPAA doesn't apply between spouses, and in quote parenthesis it says it absolutely does, and then by telling me that she trusts me and needs me to just listen to her, and he says that's not the point. I've
Oh,
repeatedly
God.
tried to explain to her why she needs to stop, but she hasn't. A few days ago she told me about a patient she saw, and even without names I figured out that it was the son of someone I knew, and they probably wouldn't want me to know that information. I again told my wife to stop, and again she brushed me off. A couple of days later, I was at a gathering where one of my wife's friends, who is also her fellow resident, was present. I pulled her aside and explained what was going on and asked her to talk with my wife about the seriousness of what she was doing. She said she would. Apparently, she didn't talk with my wife, but reported her to the hospital's ethics board,
Whoa!
and now they want to meet with my wife. She is furious with me for
Oh.
reporting her and says she can't trust me anymore. I've told her I'm sorry this is happening, but I didn't ask her to be reported. I just wanted someone to explain to her what she was doing was wrong because she wasn't listening when I did. She thinks I am a huge asshole. I think this is only an issue because she was essentially repeatedly breaking the law. Am I the asshole?
Oh, man. I oh, man. Well, first of all, I'm not a medical resident. So let's just get that out in the open. Secondly, my husband's not a medical resident. So let's get that out in the open. But also, at one point in our relationship, he was a veterinary resident. But again, the same laws don't govern veterinary residents or veterinarians because animals don't speak. So there. Now, if he came home and said, Old Man Johnson down the road, who lives at 463 on Smith Street, shot his horse in the leg, then that's another story because he's giving me specific, a bunch of specific information. I don't know. I don't even think there's any logins of that though.
Mhm.
But yeah,
What if
no,
he was safe?
I gotta say this. I um I think that guy is a gigantic asshole. There was a nice way to get his wife to stop, and that was not the nice way. The nice way would have been like this. I've made an appointment for us to talk to a counselor because I feel like there's stuff in our marriage that we need to work out. And then while you're at the therapist's office, you bring it up and you talk about it, and the therapist digs a little deeper and finds out why your wife has a need to share every single intimate detail of her patients with you. That's one way. Or the other thing is you just put earplugs in and roll over and fall asleep. I think that what he did was, I mean, she could lose her medical license. She
Hmm.
could get fined heavy fines for this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She definitely could get fired or whatever from a
Yeah.
residency.
No,
Okay,
no,
but let
no.
me.
That's terrible.
Okay, so you think he's an asshole? I just want to point out because this is kind of layered. So he went to a friend of hers, not knowing that that's what she was going to do, right? He went to her saying, "Hey, can you talk to her because she's not listening to me."
Well, I'll tell you what, she's never going to tell him intimate details about her patients ever again.
And
That's if their marriage survives whatever
Yeah,
atomic bomb he dropped on it.
Yeah. Well, so my opinion is he is an asshole too. Well, I feel like, see, it's hard because he went to her friend. You know what I mean? He never thought she would do that, right? Obviously. And
Right.
but
But maybe the friend also
is
felt
the
like,
friend the asshole?
no, as a friend, maybe they also felt like this person had overstepped their boundaries, because if they're telling their spouse, they're probably also telling their friends.
Okay, so do you think the friend is the asshole for going to the
I mean, yeah, the friend's an asshole, the husband's an asshole. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, this woman's whole career is in jeopardy because of this.
And it sounds like she left out names. Does that matter? Does that change?
I mean, it's good that she left out names, but obviously he could figure out, he said he figured out who it was on one of the incidents, and he doesn't want to know that, like, what if his mom is a patient of her? That's the thing, is she sounds like she's being indiscreet across the board.
Right.
So
Well, we don't know that.
she's going to learn a valuable lesson through this, and probably come out a better professional as a result of it, but I don't know if the marriage will survive.
Right. So I agree. I think he's an asshole for doing that because I think that, like, I agree with you that there's other things that other ways he could have dealt with it, but it's very tricky too because he went to her friend. I would never have thought the friend would have done that. So it's very tricky.
Yeah.
But the one other thing I want to bring up, because he says she keeps brushing it off, first by telling me that HIPAA doesn't apply between spouses, and it does. However, in the legal, like for trial, spouses can't testify against each other.
Right.
So that's very interesting, I think, that in a legal, realm, they can't testify against each other. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but when I read that came up to me. I don't know.
So, like, for example, if she had to go before a tribunal, or if she had to go in front of like a team of her peers or something like that, and they were to have to, like, or an ethics committee,
he would
what
be
if
protected.
he would be protected and not be forced to come in and say, yeah, my wife has a big fat mouth.
Yeah. I think this is so interesting because I just think between spouses, it's just that most other people are not going to get their wives in trouble, but I'm sure it happens all over the world. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So I
That's
want to know,
crazy.
I want to know what the listeners think. I mean, we kind of all agree that he was the asshole because that was his wife, but just what are your general thoughts on this situation? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I'm sure there's people out there that share things just because that's your, pillow talk or whatever. Anyway, yeah, write us. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're married to someone who talks in their sleep, maybe they're telling you stuff that's confidential while they're sleeping. That'll be even more interesting.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Anyway, even though we played the Am I the Asshole game today and we didn't talk about murder, you know what's a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
Oh, that is a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch created and managed by Kevin Callan. Podcast editing and advertising by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube, and you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.